Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight I am thrilled to say that my guest is Dr. Mindy L. Gewirtz. Did I do it right? Your name?
You did.
Yay, I've been practicing. Let me tell you how. I'm going to call her Dr. Mindy from now on because once is enough with the last name.
That's okay.
I don't want to mess it up. I'm very pleased I got this right. I heard about, I didn't go to, but I heard about ICF for the first time ever had a coaching cafe.
Yes.
And I keep seeing this picture of this lovely lady, Dr. Mindy L. Gewirtz, and I go, oh, this is cool, but I didn't get to go. And then I heard rave reviews
well, thank
afterwards.
you.
Yeah. So I said, oh, let me see if
Okay.
I can get her on my show. So I'm so thrilled to have you. Mindy has, Dr. Mindy has a diversified background that she's going to tell us a little bit about. First, I want to just tell you about the coaching game because that's sort of what this show is based on. And this is a tool, one of the coolest coaching tools I've ever seen, with cards that are designed to bring right and left brain thinking together. And you sort of end up way over here, and you go, how did I get there? I like that. But so I asked Dr. Mindy if she would pick out a few cards, and she did, and I'm so thrilled. The theme she came up with was how to get unstuck, and we're going to get to there because everybody's stuck. I'm stuck on the election results. I'm stuck on what to get somebody for Christmas. I mean, big, little, whatever. We're all stuck at some point. And how do you get out of that? So, but first, tell us. I loved your background. It was
Thank
like,
you.
what? First of all, she's been a coach for 25 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I keep thinking I'm the pioneer because I started in 2004, and not really. And I'm dying to know what was it like to be a coach 25 years ago?
Oh my goodness.
In 2004, I would go, I'm a coach, and they go, oh, basketball? You're so short. It's like, no. So,
Yeah, well, 25 years ago, I started my really coming out of the not-for-profit world. And I was an executive in not-for-profit, and I had a clinical practice. And here I was thinking I'm going to go get my doctorate and become, just an executive director of a large not-for-profit. And I went back to school, and guess what? I found out that what I really love to do is create change, be a catalyst for change.
wow.
And so what ended up happening is I saw this movie. And the movie, I don't know, I'm dating myself, was Field of Dreams.
We already did that.
Oh, okay.
25 years, we
there,
know.
we know. Was Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. And it made famous the saying, build it and they will come.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it occurred to me that it wasn't clinical work and not-for-profit that I wanted to do. I wanted to create a larger impact because my mission in life is really to create an impact, make a difference in the world. So I went to get my doctorate, did that while I was raising 5 kids. I don't know how I did it. I have no idea how I did that today. And what lo and behold I found is that I'm ready to leave after a decade, my clinical work, go into executive coaching and leadership development. And guess what? I ended up saying, nah, Mindy, you don't really know a whole lot about that. Why don't you take another certification and go after your HROD, Human Resource and Organizational Development? And that's where I really learned from Catherine Esty, who was my mentor and one of the pioneers in coaching as well. And she actually was one of the few social workers like myself who had transitioned and become a very successful businesswoman. So that's where it was in those days.
I love that. And I think that this could be why I'm so fascinated, because that's kind of my background. I was always nonprofit, and I figured long ago, I figured service is the way to go, and it doesn't make sense. Money's nice, but service is the way to go. But then you realize you're within the parameters of government. Oh, so many rules and regulations. And so I loved it. It took me much longer to figure this out than you did. That it's like I want to make change, and in order to do that, I can't work within these. I have to go outside the box, so to speak. And good for you. That was courageous back then.
It was really, really scary.
Yeah.
And it was a huge leap for me. It was kind of going from a clinician to a businesswoman and to an entrepreneur. And it was a long journey to really have that business acumen. And it was like the difference between standing at the foot of the mountain and watching someone throw down babies off of the top of the mountain and trying to catch them and hold them one by one and help them out, instead of going to the top of the mountain, thinking systemically, and then saying, what's going on here that this is happening? We got to create change so that this doesn't happen. And so systemic change, coaching the leader, and stop it, make a bigger impact that way. So that was the mind shift.
It is a mind shift because you're so busy catching babies that it's like you don't have time to think of the big picture. But thank you for stopping and saying, wait, you know what? I can keep catching babies, or maybe somebody will stop throwing them if I can figure out what's going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, what a great metaphor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there I was, my beautiful corner office in downtown Boston, and I was going out to be an entrepreneur in a field that I was a newbie in. I was
the field was new.
The field was new. Everything was new, but that's where I like to play.
Yeah.
Is on the cusp of new things, on that, right on that bleeding edge, as they say.
That's where we all hope we get, but it takes a leap of courage to do that. I mean, it's like, oh, I'd love to be on the ground floor of this baby, but it takes that leap of courage to do that. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you. And I was very, very fortunate, kind of coming out of that situation. I had my first gig, and it was a little project, coaching some senior managers in this $500 million textile firm off of Boston, and that was very exciting. I was actually getting paid more in a day that I actually made in a month. And so I was all over this and immersed myself in it, and it got so big because one thing led to another. Oh, Mindy, can you do performance management? Sure. I would go back and say, okay, what do we do? How do we do that?
What's performance management? Yeah.
You know, it was still the early days back then. I bring my mentor in, who was also formerly a clinician and had really taught at Columbia. And what he did, and together we worked, and it got so big that I became a partner in his firm, an equal partner. So we were 4 partners, and then it got even bigger, and we brought in 6 associates, contracted with 6 associates, and we turned over this huge organization into a team-based organization. So coaching, team development.
Definitely ahead of your time. Definitely, because team development and team-based coaching now is just coming on the scene. It's like managers are realizing that I can have all these talented people, but if they can't work together,
then what's
nothing
the point?
Gets done. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow. So where the organization you're talking about that came together? Is that your collaborative networks?
No.
Oh
So
my
this
gosh.
is, of course, you know, I finally figured out that I evolve every 10 years or so.
There you go.
And 10 years passed. It was great. We went into high tech, we went into clean tech, and still loved manufacturing. And what I discovered is I wanted to do global work.
Global.
I read Thomas Friedman's book,
Okay.
The World is Flat. And suddenly I'm saying, wait a minute. The world is changing around me. I'm not sure exactly how that impacts me, but I got to do it different. We're not going to have clients anymore for 5 years. They're not going to just engage us like we did with a couple of big clients and we were all set. Things were going to be different. They were going to be modular. It was going to be 6 months to a year and get out. It was going to be prove the ROI up front, have evidence-based measurement. And then I said,
That's
why?
pretty unique for coaching.
Exactly. And then here I was thinking to myself, we have 4 partners. We have $200K in infrastructure and overhead, and beautiful corner office, this time in Brookline, Massachusetts, which is beautiful. And why do I need that?
Time to leave. No.
I was saying to myself, I have a BlackBerry. I was one of the first users, of course, of a BlackBerry.
Of course,
Can you imagine that? BlackBerry in those days was so exciting. And I said, wait a minute, I could work less and have a bigger profit margin than I am killing myself with all this overhead. And my partners were at a different stage of life, and I loved them dearly. And I decided it was time for me to venture into the new world again, and we left very, very good terms. and I went solo.
Whoa.
Now, I thought going in with partners was
scary. Yeah.
Oh my God, going solo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an extrovert, not that you can tell or anything.
No, not at all.
And I miss the community of people. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to make this transition? Well, I created my own board of advisors, so to speak, created my own networks, and decided that my new company was going to be called Collaborative Networks. And the question you're asking is like, why Collaborative Networks? Well, because I was a virtual organization. In other words, I was going to bring in coaches and other consultants to work with me, and we were going to collaborate and create a network. So that was part of it. And then the other part of it was that I was going to help organizations to create networks rather than siloed parts. I was going to connect those parts, and that was going to be where I was going to do a lot of my effort. And I hope that I could do not just intra-organizational collaboration, but inter-collaboration, and then to make it global. So I had all these high hopes.
Lofty ideas.
Lofty ideas in terms of what I do. And along the way, I love to do research. I love to write. So I did some research on women in the new economy. And guess what? This was years ago. We didn't quite make as much change as we, thought
and we
had.
Still don't.
And we still don't. It's really kind of scary a decade later. And I was very, very fortunate to be able to build my practice in such a way that I could really do what I love to do.
Yeah.
And I have tremendous passion and actually make money at it.
What's that? The book? What color's your parachute? The theory.
Yes,
the theory is do what you love, and the money will come.
And the money will
You're
come.
a living example of that. Yeah.
Yes.
But again, courage. It takes a lot of courage to do that. And I don't know how you did it with 5 kids. It's like, wait a minute, maybe kid number 3 is not going to go to college. I don't know.
That's it. It really became hard to kind of think of how I was going to juggle everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And so what I did is I took my kids and put them into a team. I said, guys.
Oh, no, she started with the kids.
Can you imagine these poor kids, in school? Okay, guys, we're a team. And so we all have responsibilities here in the household and things that I'm going to do and you're going to do, my husband's going to do, your dad's going to do, and we're going to all make this work.
You know what? I love that concept because I think people out there now who are struggling might want to think about teaming their family together. I like that.
Yes, and it helped that I did my dissertation on work and life integration.
Yes, I would think that would help.
And what I discovered is that those families that kind of did that and had, it's fascinating, breakfast together, stayed together. So I made sure that we all had
together.
breakfast
You always hear
together.
dinner, but breakfast, huh?
Yeah.
To start your day, why not?
To start your day all together. So that was kind of exciting. So there I was, and life kind of changed again. And
because of you.
Well,
it's
yeah,
your fault.
But the good news is that I'm now, let's see, it was 2005, so it's 2016. So it's 11 years, and I'm like,
getting that 10-year itch?
I have the 10-year itch, and I'm saying, well, I want to write some more.
Yeah.
And this time I want to write a book, but I still really love what I'm doing. And what I'm trying to do now, and what I see a great need for, is coaching our millennials in the workplace.
Yeah. Generational coaching, absolutely. Coming on strong because there's the gap, and it's getting bigger. It's getting bigger and bigger. But because actually workers are working longer, either by desire or because they have to.
Yes.
And the newer generation coming in, I equate that to like what's happening in the world today. I did the millennials. I'm amazed at their attitude, but they didn't fight the fights we fought. They came in. This is taken for granted, and that's the whole thing. So good for you.
Well, kind of as boomers, kind of, they really worked to live. Okay, the boomers' parents lived to work.
Yes, yes.
Millennials just want to live.
Forget about the work.
And the work is okay, but the work has to fit into their life.
Yeah,
which
that's a great way of explaining that.
So
yeah.
I think that they're going to be kind of, imagine a snake, and they're going to be like a grapefruit through the snake, kind of making changes to our culture inside organizations, because they're not going to stand for what we put up with.
Absolutely.
You know, flexibility for them,
Yeah.
it's taken for granted. All the things we had to work so hard for. And it's fascinating. If you ask people, boomers, you know, the stereotype of the millennial, they're coddled, they're entitled, they, you know, want feedback all the time, and they don't work hard. Now, when I talk to millennials, and the kind of research around them bears this out, and you ask them, we're entrepreneurial. We're tech savvy. We are really all about, you know, marketing and social media and really making ourselves specialists. And we work hard, but we work in our own way.
Okay.
And that's differently than the way we're used to. So coaching the next stage of leaders is what I'm just now beginning to do. I've always coached millennials kind of on the outside as part of my service suite, but now it's inside corporations, it's very different.
Wow, okay. And do corporations see that need also?
Well, it's fascinating. Seeing the need, yes. Paying for it separately, no.
Just like coaching, yeah.
It's just like coaching. Do we want coaching? If you ask,
absolutely,
yes.
yeah. Oh, you want me to pay you
You
for it?
pay? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I do.
And I think the coaching profession is going to profoundly change in the next 5 years. And there's going to be a lot of blended coaching. I think AI, artificial intelligence, will impact ourselves as coaching. And here I am at the cusp again of saying, no, just when I was thinking I'm going to settle into the profession, things are changing, but I'm very excited.
I was just going to say, you're not really saying,
no,
oh, no. You're
no,
saying,
no.
yes.
I love this.
So excited.
I'm excited. I just have no idea in what direction. But what I do know is that the need for coaching is becoming mainstream. It's
fine.
no
I mean,
longer-
here, yes, definitely. And I see it happening, and we were talking about global, I see it happening on a global basis too, slowly but surely. But it's like it used to be foreign and no, we'll go with psychiatric care as opposed to coaching. And now it's like, okay, they're starting to come around, and that's a great thing.
Yes, and there are actually, you know, coaching organizations now inside big companies like Palmolive Colgate and inside Citibank and places like that. So
I did a couple of workshops for NASA, and I was amazed to find out that NASA's had an internal coach program for about 20 years.
wow.
Because they realized that their people are all very linear and analytical with no people skills. And it's like, and those are the people you have to promote. But they were so on top of it that they went, you know what, we got to get some people skills in here and teamwork and leadership development. And it's
Beautiful.
like, and I think you're right. I think all the corporations are coming, or not all, but a lot of the corporations are coming around to that way of thinking. It's like, you know, we can have all these talented people, but they've got to come together, you know,
Absolutely.
and learn how to work together. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I love working with high-tech folk, with scientists. They're brilliant. And I really love that. The question is how to help them connect their brain with their heart and their gut. So we now know from neuroscience, which to me was something I had never known, is we have 3 brains.
What?
Exactly. I was like, what are you talking about? And we all knew about the brain in our head, but the neuronal pathways now we see up and down from the brain to the heart to the gut. And the gut actually sends much more up to the brain
I would believe that.
than the other way around. So when we say, is your gut healthy? If it's healthy, you're good.
Yeah.
And we're learning how to help people, exactly what you said. That's so exciting when I heard you say that, to connect the brain, kind of the right and left sides of the brain, to connect that analytical prefrontal cortex side of the brain with the emotional piece, the limbic system, and also primitive kinds of brain or amygdala that hijacks us all the time.
Yes.
So I've been very fortunate to be able to delve into the neuroscience and add that on as a special sauce in the work that I do to accelerate.
And again,
change.
ahead of your time, because that just came on strong, I'm going to say 8 years ago maybe, and it was like, oh my God, you know, we got thinking about how you think, it's like, oh, that's too much for me. I said, that's too much for me. But eventually it's fascinating. It's like, okay, we're all operating from basically the same system, but what gets put in and what gets emphasized and what gets ignored is just, I mean, you could just go on and on with that.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And what's beautiful is that emotional intelligence, social intelligence, the EQ, has really become mainstream.
Yes.
And
yes.
that's all about really having the people skills and coming on board with that, and not just the analytical skills, and understanding that and there is an expertise around that. It's not just fluff or icing on the cake, as one CEO had said to me. Guys, the higher up you go, the more you need it, because you're not doing the work. You're influencing others to do the work through them and with them, not by commanding them.
Fear-based leadership is definitely been proven, you know, to be not as effective as incentive and positivity. I think that's the word, the buzzword now.
Yes.
So yeah. Well, let's talk about on a personal level, because we don't even have that much time left. How about
time
that?
is going
You
fast.
had chosen, you wanted to talk about stuck, and this is like a nail and rusty something.
Yeah, it looks
Something's
pretty
wrong.
awful.
Pretty bad. What what do you do to get individuals unstuck? And is it the same as what you do with teams and things, or in leaders? I mean, I have a saying, and when people go, oh my God, I don't know if I could do corporate, and it's like, well, you know what, corporate people are people too, so they got the same kind of craziness going on.
Exactly.
They just can't show it as well, and they shouldn't, because they're corporate. But so, what are some tips for getting unstuck?
Well, what I like to do with folks is kind of put them on the balcony and to look
This
down.
is the queen of metaphors. I enjoy this. Yes, go ahead. I'm so jealous because I'm not good with metaphors, but go ahead. We're on the balcony.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, we're on the balcony and we're looking around. So that's the first thing I do, is pick up the head and help them to lift their head and see things from a different perspective.
Wow,
what
nice.
does it look like when you lift your head up? How is it different? How does the scenery change? And they go, and that begins a conversation. And what I found is very often people start with, I'm really looking for success, whether it's a promotion, work in business, in my life, in my relationships, but I'm really stuck and I don't know how to go about it. And when we just kind of peel the layers of an onion, so to speak, then what I've discovered is that there are usually obstacles there to keep that person from really doing unconscious, subconscious obstacles. And so to help a person get unstuck, we put, as I call, the moose from under the table on top of the table, so that something smells in this room. Well, there's a moose under the table, and no one is really, you know, acknowledging the moose. And we all have our kind of own moose, and teams especially have lots of moose under the table there, and help them to look at it. And very often part of the stuckness, and I know for myself it's also true, is that we see a tremendous amount of anxiety around, I'm stuck. I can't get out of this. I tried analytically. I did the pros, I did the cons, I did everything, and I still can't get stuck. And people get very anxious. And when we get anxious, then our amygdala takes over. When our amygdala kind of takes over and our primitive brain, then we can even think less. And so one of the things to help people get unstuck that I really think is important, and my clients really say is one of kind of the special things I do, is help them to believe in their own ability to get unstuck, that it is inside them, and all we're doing here is being a guide on that journey to emerge, whatever it is those obstacles are, and remove them. So Kurt Lewin, the great psychologist, basically said when we create change, and we want to create change, very often, so I tell my clients, put your hands together. Great. Now, whenever you want to create change, and we do this a lot in organizations, right? The more change you push this way, well, guess what? The system and the individual pushes back. Right? No, I can't do that. No, I'm not smart enough. No, I'm unworthy. I tried that, Mindy. It doesn't work. I have no clue what I'm going to do. And what Lewin talked about is stop driving. Instead, remove the obstacles in your way, and then there will be room for you to get unstuck.
And
think about changing, and think about how it is that you want something to be different in your life and what you need to do that. Okay.
I'm going to try a metaphor of my own. It's like, okay, rather than be the damsel waiting for the white knight on the horse or the knight on the white horse, whatever, to come and save you, it's like, okay, what can you do to make this happen? And that would, I would assume that would mean, okay, first defining what it is that you really want, and then what obstacles are in the way, where some people would say, oh, that's kind of negative, but I think it's more realistic than negative. It's like, okay, if you want to get here, and this is here, how you over, under, side, how are you going to do that? Yeah.
And very often it's our emotional subconscious stuff that keeps us stuck.
Always, yes.
And until we really, you have to work through it. And once we work through it, then we can breathe better. One of the things I really tell people is, okay, you're really stuck, you're not sure how you're going to do, fine, one step. One baby step. Because if you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's been my motto since the election, one person at a time, one day at a time. Just baby steps, chunk it off. We have 30 seconds left. I know. So if they go to your website, collaborative.networks.net, what are they going to find?
Well, they're going to find 3 kind of real big chunks of service. One is the executive coaching, and you can actually book online and pay online as well.
Cool.
And we do the coaching, telecoaching really, we call it right now.
Quickly.
Yes. And then you'll find leadership development, and that's kind of training and workshops inside organizations. And then you're going to find team coaching as well. So I'd like in this season to kind of make an offer to the wonderful people who are listening to your show, and that is the first 10 people to email me, book online. I'm happy to have a half-hour free consult with you on anything that you would like to happen in your life.
All right, we